Ladies and gentlemen, grab your tea and get ready for Tea Talk, where the topics are real, relevant, and relaxing. It's Tea Talk time. Here's Lady O.
All right. Thank you, Tracy. Listen, we are so excited to have each of you today. It's going to be an amazing, amazing tea talk. It's November and it is time for a lot of things, but one of my favorite things about November is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving in our family has been a huge, huge celebration. And I love it so much because it's more about family and it's about getting in the kitchen and cooking together and getting everything just perfect. Putting together all those meals and recipes that have been handed down from generations that make us remember people that are no longer here. So Thanksgiving is one of my favorite times, and one of the things that we'll talk about today is getting the list of who's coming to Thanksgiving dinner. Now, we've been celebrating Thanksgiving for so many years, and it started off in East Texas, out in the country. My grandfather did not even have lights inside or a wood electric stove or gas stove. He had to put the logs in there in the stove. And so we started off there out in the country. Then we went to the city, and my mom started having it after my grandfather died. We moved it to the city, and she hosted it for so many years. And then once she passed away, I took on the tradition to have the place where the family would gather together to give Thanksgiving. And so that's where we are now, that I host Thanksgiving dinner. And my point is that it changes. And since it's such a really wonderful family holiday, the changes sometimes are not welcome. They're not something that we would want. I would love to still have my mom here for Thanksgiving. And she would make this 5 flavor pound cake, and just to walk in her door, as we get ready for Thanksgiving, and I would smell all of those different aromas, and she could make peach cobbler. I mean, certain things that I knew she would be making. And I can just still smell those flavors and so forth. So that's what I would rather it be. But the reality is everything changes, and nobody likes to be changed except for a wet baby. So we, as adults, have to learn how to go with the change. So with that, our list gets different. Some of the reasons the list will get different is our own doing, and some of it is not our doing. I just remember here in Houston, I used to have so many of the senior ladies in the church and their husbands, and Sister Pat and Brother Smith. They would come every year, and Gail Lynn, and I knew that was 3 on my list, and Dr. Ayola and her husband and 2 kids, they were always on the list. And of course, from our family alone, 4 children, their spouses, and 13 grandchildren. We had a house full already. We had 20 something people. So when you look at your list now, it's changed. And so you have to start to invite new people. But what happens when you have to uninvite certain people? So that happens too. Because of a life, we have many reasons why our list will change. And so I've asked my team today to talk about their Thanksgivings, and we're going to start off with a couple of things. We're going to talk about the list and why people are on the list, added on, or why they're not on the list. How has your list changed and why? And how to change your list and be in a nice way, without being such a rude person. How do you uninvite somebody? Okay. So we're going to talk about that first, and we're going to talk about etiquette. What do you do when you go to someone's house for Thanksgiving and when you leave? We're going to be talking about some traditions and things, and making new traditions, because the reality is COVID has hit us really hard. And a lot of people are not coming to Thanksgiving dinner because they've gone on to be with the Lord. They have passed away, and death is one of the most difficult reasons to take somebody off the list. I remember the first year that, when Sister Mary wasn't coming, Mary Jones and her husband were come. And it's those seats at the table. I know where she and her husband sat, brothers and sisters. I knew where they sat. Everybody had a seat at the table in the dining room. Now, little by little, those two seats are vacant. Those two are vacant. That one is vacant. And it starts to hit you like, oh my God, what is happening to my Thanksgiving? And it can make you sad. So we're going to give you some things to help you get through the Thanksgiving. And we're also giving you some things to help you move to some new traditions of ways of doing Thanksgiving. So with that, I'm going to ask all of my team to come on, and they're going to be sharing with us. So we're going to have some fun, guys, and it's going to also be a little bit challenging too, because it brings back some difficult memories sometimes. As I was sitting here talking about my mom, I got a little teary-eyed because I'm like, we used to always get all the 4 kids in the car and head down to Dallas, and help cook and be up all night long, and the next day make the table. And that's what family did together, and friends. And that's totally different from what I do now. So we're going to talk about, let's see, who would like to talk about their guest list, or even the fact of people who are not on your guest list anymore. I talked about my mom not being on my guest list. Is anybody else that somebody's going to be removed from the guest list or has had to be removed from the guest list?
Well, my mom was removed from ours, and this year my baby brother will not be
Yeah,
a part of the
right.
Thanksgiving.
And that was just a couple of weeks ago, so that's very fresh.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be very, very fresh on your mind, in your talking and eating on that seat wherever he would sit, that special dish he would like. He's going to be missing. So we want to keep you in our prayers. Also, Tisha is not on today because one of her family members passed away this past week. And so the family's all together. So things are going to be different for her very, very recently. Let's see, Flair, have you ever had someone missing from your list, or you've been missing from the list?
Yeah. I lost my mom and my sister, and then after that, my dad. So they're not with us anymore at the
Right.
table.
Okay. Shelly, what about you?
Well, I've been in Houston for so long. When my mother passed, I had already developed a new tradition for Thanksgiving. Um, but holidays are never the same without your parents. It's just never the same. But
Yeah.
my change came about because of my divorce. I used to spend Thanksgiving with my husband's family, and he has a very large family, and we would all get together. Everybody would bring something, um, and we would have to cook a lot because it was a lot of people. And his mother was, I call her a master chef. I mean, that woman could just cook. So she would cook all these cakes and pies, and she would cook duck dressing and duck and turkey, and I mean just everything.
Wow.
Nobody could cook like her. So we all look forward to um, eating dinner. But after the divorce, then I felt like an outsider because I was no longer a part of the family. So
Yeah.
I had to make a new tradition. So I just cooked. I cooked at home with my children, and my daughter started. I told her, now you have to make one of these dishes. So she would make something, or she does make something. And then since I love my mother-in-law's cooking so much, I still make her 7-Up cake, and it's so good. So I kept her recipe, so I still
Mhm.
use her cake recipe for my Thanksgiving.
Right. And I've
Yeah.
had that cake before. You made it for us
Yes,
last year, I
I
believe.
made it last year. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So you can keep some of those memories. And I know you made broccoli and rice
Broccoli and
casserole for
cheese.
them, because that was
Yes,
so you can still exchange the dishes even though you're not going to the house, because it is going to be awkward to have the new wife there and whatever. It's just going to be
right.
awkward. Even though I'm sure your mother-in-law wouldn't mind it, but it would be awkward for him and her.
Yes.
So, and I know it must have been really difficult at first, like that first year, first 1 or 2 years. Has it gotten easier for you?
Yes, it's much easier now. And I just, as time passes, I realize that you have to accept what is,
Uh huh.
and you cannot live in the past.
Right.
and you have to accept what is and keep moving.
That's very good advice, because that's what had to
Yeah.
happen with me with my mom. I was like, okay, I really didn't want to take on that tradition. I really didn't want things to change. But
Mhm.
like you said, you cannot live in the past. You have to accept the reality of what is and make some new traditions and make it,
Yes.
what it is, rather
Mhm.
than to stay stuck in the past of, I wish my mom were here, but it's not going to happen. So why do I
Exactly.
Mhm.
want to stay there? Um, and you got other family and friends that will come in and celebrate with you.
Right. Exactly.
Tracy, what
Yeah.
about you?
Well, the person that's missing from our family is my mother, the matriarch of the family, and she's been gone for 11 years, but it still hurts. You still
Mhm.
you try to get through your holidays. I'm learning how to turn the hurt into memories
Mhm,
and just honor her with my life and her traditions. My mother was an excellent cook,
mhm.
and she loved to make pies and cakes, and she was a good Southern woman, so she loved to see everybody eating and smiling and enjoying the
Yes.
food. That
Eat,
was
eat,
that
eat.
gave her joy. And
Yes.
she said, I cooked this for y'all. So when we came, everybody's special dish was done. If you liked carrot cake, that's what you got. If you like pecan pie, she made. So she loved to see everybody else happy.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do was take one of her dishes and make that a tradition. So I love to make sweet potato pies.
We had that last year
We
too.
had
It's
that
very
last year
good.
too. Yeah.
And y'all
It
know
was
I'm
so
having a
good.
hard time finding some stuff. So y'all find some yams and some pie crust. Let me know.
I
Just-
know.
we're
Yeah,
having a
that's going
hard
to be a
time
problem for
finding.
everybody this year because the things are out in the ocean or wherever and they can't get into us.
Yeah, so I'm having a hard time. But I'm gonna start making some more. I made some yesterday. Make some more because when I go home to Dad for Thanksgiving, that's our tradition now. We go to him. He's gonna look for that pie. If I don't have that pie, I can't come in.
Right, 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 right. Do you my aunt, I call her Aunt Nancy. Okay, I know it's Aunt Nancy, but we said Aunt Nancy, okay? That's what we said. That was her name. But Aunt Nancy, when we would go down there for her, she would have a freezer, one of those big old freezers,
Hmm.
and she had been cooking. I didn't know it until like now. I thought she cooked them all the night before. But she said later on, as I got older, she said, "Oh, I've been cooking for over a month,
Hmm.
Mm.
preparing for this day." So she would make those cakes and pies and freeze them.
And freeze them.
Right.
And the day of Thanksgiving, she would lay them all out. Like you said,
Hmm.
anything you wanted, it was there.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you freeze yours too?
Well, actually, we started cooking last night. So I did the dressing yesterday, the pies. I started the pies,
Oh,
and then I did
wow.
some gumbo last night.
Mm.
So,
Wow.
so yeah, because I don't want to, we want to enjoy that day.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm a little slow learner here because I really not thought about cooking that early in advance. We can start now and freezing it. But I remember when I first started doing my mom's, taking over my mom, I would cook everything. I mean, I said, "Oh, don't worry, come on, don't bring anything. I got it all." So I would be cleaning up the house, setting the table, decorating, and doing all the cooking. I did that for a couple of years, and then my feet started swelling.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah,
really
that's too
enjoy it.
much.
So that's the way
Mhm.
they did it,
Hmm.
by cooking a little bit at a time and freezing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And what we're doing now is I had some friends over last night, so we're doing it not just for my family, but we're cooking for her family and my other friend's family. So
Oh,
we're all
Oh,
having
That's
some
that's
fun.
nice.
nice.
Yeah. And
I
that's
love
another
it.
tradition we do. I have a group of girlfriends. They come over, and we cook and share with each other and laugh and enjoy each other while we're preparing for Thanksgiving or for Christmas.
That's
Oh, that's
nice.
nice,
Wow.
Tracy. That's a
Nice.
That's
good
nice.
idea.
Yeah.
Now,
Hmm.
y'all, I don't see anything in the chat. I'm not sure if I'm, do y'all see any conversations in the chat room?
No,
Or,
not too much yet. No.
okay, I don't know if Johnny's still on here. I hope that this is being shared with the other mediums. He had to go to another event. So did everybody share
It
to
is.
Tea Talk?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some people
Yeah.
coming in. Yeah, there's some people
Okay,
coming
we
in.
just can't see it. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
okay. Well, we cannot see what's coming in.
Yeah.
But
I
but anyway, um, I'm sorry, was someone talking?
No, I was just gonna say, they were saying, and I'm listening to you guys, and I just think it's amazing how you just cook and have all these meals and everything. My mom did all our cooking.
Yeah.
I would
And
just
aren't you
go
the
in my house.
baby? Aren't you the baby?
I'm the youngest.
Yeah, you're the
You're
best.
the youngest girl. Okay, I just want to get that out there. Go ahead and say what you gotta say, because I already know what you're gonna say. These babies don't want to cook. My baby sister always told me, I'm gonna bring the fruit salad. I'm like, fruit salad? That's fruit
I would
cocktail
go
and
and clean.
marshmallows.
Yeah, I would clean up afterward or something. But I just wasn't a kitchen person, and I didn't have to. And then again, my first Thanksgiving with my husband, that was a disaster. We went to his mom, and she asked me, well, what's your specialty? What are you going to cook? I told her I don't cook, and they're from the country. And
Oh, I bet that family talked about you. How you
that
gonna
didn't
bring
go
this
with
girl
me
if she
well,
can't
but I
cook?
didn't cook. I go to my mom's house and eat.
Yeah.
And then when my mom died, my sister took it over, and she can cook.
Ooh.
So I do it out of necessity, not out of love.
Right. And that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. If
Yeah.
that's your
Yeah.
if you don't cook, well, I'm gonna tell you something. When people can't cook, I tell them, don't cook.
Don't bring
Because let me tell you what you can bring. Or you can just put $25 toward the meal and call it a day.
Yeah.
That would be an awful thing. So so now I know that you're divorced. Do you go everybody cook something, or what do you do for Thanksgiving?
No, now it's just me and the kids. We used to go always go to New Orleans, and it got kind of tiresome going home. So then sometime my sister and nephews and nieces would come here. And then it got to the point where me and the kids would just have our own thing. If we didn't feel like traveling and everybody was, with their families, we would just go out and get something and spend the week, because we had the week off. We would spend the time just doing something for ourselves.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And, and that's okay. I mean, like I was saying, everybody does not cook. And so you need to find people who do cook and let them cook for you, and you pay them or whatever, so the food is good. Because let's share about a time or a dish that somebody has bought that you wish they had not bought. Okay. And one of mine is that is a sweet potato pie. This person was experimenting, and they were trying to make this sweet potato pie. And it didn't go over well. They bought several of them. So I saw people in the kitchen putting sweet potato pies underneath my cabinets. And I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Oh my goodness.
And they were trying to hide them or get rid of them. They didn't want to put them in the trash can. So they were hiding them.
Oh my goodness.
When the person came, and they thought they were really liking the sweet potato pies because they were gone. But they were hiding them up under the cabinets in places where you would never put food.
Oh,
so that was one. And then another time was a time a person, they wanted to bring this dressing that we weren't accustomed to. Like where they came from, this oyster dressing was very, very popular. But down south, we don't make oyster dressing. So therefore, people, I'm sure it might have been good, but when you have dressing that people like, if you bring something too new, they're not going to eat it. Mm-hmm. So that was another. Anybody think of anything else somebody bought that you really kind of wish they would have not?
Like, I know we had a situation one year. I was actually a small child. And my aunt, I hope she's not on here, but her daughter, but she decided she wanted to do a duck.
Okay. Oh boy, that's a hard one.
Kid, I'm like, I don't know what that is, but okay. So we got we sat down at the table. They cut the duck, and blood started coming out.
It started what?
Blood came out.
Oh no.
Oh no. This was at the dinner?
At the dinner.
Oh, okay.
No. What did y'all do?
All the kids left. I don't know what the adults did, but we left.
The kids said, we're not eating that, huh?
We didn't get to cook anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how do you tell somebody don't cook, don't bring it? How do you do that?
Well, and she couldn't cook, so I don't even know why that happened. Why they let her cook? I don't know why.
Well, you know what? I think that okay, let's answer that question because we're going to be talking about how to do things right. How do you tell some people, a person that cannot cook but insist on bringing something to the meal? How do you tell them not to bring it? Nobody had to do that before?
I've never had to do that.
No.
Well, I don't know exactly how I did it, but I asked them specifically to bring paper goods. Or one time I asked them if they could bring the honey baked ham. So therefore that said, don't cook, order it and bring it, because I get really, I feel bad for them. We had a couple of times, and y'all know how important the broccoli and cheese casserole is. And if it's not cooked just right, the cheese can kind of separate and be kind of watery if people are rushing or whatever. So I think one of the things that people will learn is if they didn't eat it, if they didn't touch it,
it
means you don't need to do that again. So let me give that advice to somebody on here that may be listening. If you take all this food and people do not eat it, that means that is not your expertise. And don't take it personal.
That's the message.
You want to find something that you can do or go. I mean, there's no excuse these days because you can go to a YouTube and they will walk you through how to cook something. So do that. I had another incident that I thought about, and it kind of goes in with our tea talk we had last week, with Alzheimer's. Well, my husband's mother is a very good cook. I mean, she cooked, when I was dating him, and it was always good. And when she started having her, Alzheimer's and those kind of things, she was insisting that we come to her house because we'd always go to my house. And she said, no, I want y'all to come to my house. So we got all the kids up, in honor of what she said. And we went there and the food was awful. It was just really awful. And I was trying to tell my kids, eat something, just eat something. Just eat, act like you just kind of moving around or whatever. But last week, I'm telling myself, you're not going to hurt our feelings. And of course, I didn't eat mine either. I was just kind of moving it around. And we were going to go to another place to eat. So I didn't want to get full anyway. Y'all have that happen too? But it wasn't even good. If it had been really good, I'd have pigged out on it and just the next place would have to suffer.
Yeah.
But now what I realized from last week, and this is for somebody, that if that happens, be very kind, because when you have Alzheimer's or dementia, you will forget the recipe.
Right.
And you may leave something out. So another way of being very kind is to fix your plate. So, I want to fix me a plate to go home. And, get your plate fixed up and you take it home, and then you can dispose of it at home. But don't hurt their feelings by not going. So we went, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to, eat a lot of it. But we did kind of eat a little bit and shift it around. And now I realize why it tasted so bad. Because she's always been a great cook. But she had forgotten how to cook those recipes. So that's the way. Okay, let's go on to anybody else have anything else to say? I want to talk about a couple other things. Okay. All right. So what are some things that people that come to Thanksgiving dinner that make you not want to invite them back?
Those that come and bring items and then want to take them back if you didn't use them.
Oh, that's a big one. They bring stuff, and then when it's they go in the kitchen looking to see y'all didn't use my paper towels. Y'all didn't use my cups. I'm taking them all back.
Right.
And they literally pack off everything, all the sodas that are left over.
That's right.
Anything they bought, they take it back. That is bad etiquette.
Yes. Yes.
If you bring it to that house, you need to leave it.
Yes.
Unless the hostess says to you, hey, why don't you take this thing of Cokes back? We don't drink Cokes.
Yes.
Okay. If she says that. But see, a lot of times they have other guests coming in and they may not drink Cokes, but the other person will. So do not pack the stuff off just because you bought it. That's rude.
That's right.
It's bad manners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You can talk to the guests. Another thing I have seen, you go to the guests and say, look, oh my goodness, there's a whole pie left here. Would you like to freeze it or keep it? Or do you want me to put it into another dish or something if it's in your dish? you offer that, and then they'll say, "Oh no, just take it home, Tracy. We got 2 more over here," or they will say, "Yes, I want to keep it, and I'll put it in the freezer or whatever." Because what I do for Thanksgiving, I save my desserts from Thanksgiving to Christmas because I don't cook all the stuff. I said, bring me all the desserts, and they're gonna go in the freezer into the for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have another one that does bother me too? That people come in and they come in the kitchen and see what's left, and they want to take their stuff back. So don't do that. Okay. Number 2. Who's got another one?
Yeah,
They
people
don't
that
bring anything.
a bunch of Tupperware to take food home.
Oh, people come in with Tupperware and things, and they're wanting to pack off all of the food with them. That's rude. Okay. Don't come in the go. We used to have a lady in our church, and especially if they didn't bring anything.
Yeah,
okay?
some don't bring anything. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Flair said that too, that they don't bring anything, but they come with their Tupperware in the car or in their bag, and they want to pack off all the food to take home and didn't bring anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say that's really 2 different things, because a lot of times people will bring food, but they still want to pack it off. Okay.
Yeah.
I would say to that one, because I always have a lot of food, and I do want my guests to take some things home, but I don't want them to pack all of it off. So let me just take that whole pan of macaroni and cheese since y'all didn't eat it. No,
Right.
Don't be greedy. You can pack off a plate, because one of the good things about Thanksgiving is you like to have leftovers.
Yes.
But guess what? The hostess wants to have a little leftovers too. So if everything is almost gone, don't be trying to get you a plate scraping off the macaroni and cheese off the. Leave it, okay?
Right.
And and just kind of, the host will usually tell you without you having to ask. Why don't you take something home?
Yes.
But if they don't offer, don't do it, okay?
Right.
And then the other one that Flair said is not bringing anything. It is rude. It is rude. To go to dinner and not take anything. You can bring a bottle of champagne, you can bring a bottle of wine, you can bring a fruit, something, but the best thing to do is to ask the hostess, what can I bring? Right. Because what you bring may not even go along with the dinner. They may not drink wine, they may not drink champagne. So, and I've seen this one too, y'all. The person bring this big old bottle of champagne and they drink it all. I'm like, was that for us? And they'll say, well, I didn't think you wanted any. Well, you said you bought it for the host. And they drink all of it and eat all of it. Or they bring a little bit. Like I say, okay, Shelly, can you bring the mac and cheese? Oh, sure. They bring a bowl this big.
Yes.
And you got 30 guests.
Right. Yes.
So you need to bring enough for everybody. If you're going to that party, if you know there's 20, 30 people coming, you need to bring enough. How do you know? You ask the hostess, how many are you expecting? Right. Because if you're bringing something so serious as a macaroni and cheese, it's going to be a situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially if it's good. Somebody else have another one that's not good? What about, has anybody ever had anybody come to your house unannounced? They just, oh, it's Thanksgiving. I thought I'd just drop by. What do you do?
Okay, so
Tracy, what do you do?
Y'all gonna slap my hand, but they got no. That's bad etiquette.
You slap their hands?
Don't slap my hand, y'all. Don't slap my hand. But
you slapping your own hand first before you tell us what you're gonna say?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and tell us.
You can't do that. No, you can't do that. I love you, but you can't do that.
So what do you say? What do you do? They're standing there at the door, and they're like, "Hey, Cousin Tracy."
God bless you. We'll see you next time. Because and especially if it's a person who brings, maybe some negative drama and vibes, and gonna disrupt the whole flow.
Because you already know. Uncle Junebug is gonna be drunk when he gets to the door. And and Sarah can't stand him, and they gonna fuss and fight. So why are you gonna allow him to come in and be comfortable when it makes everybody else uncomfortable?
Yeah, so I don't think I'm gonna have to send them on their way and pray for him. But no.
Well, I'm thinking about this now because I've not had to do it. I've had to have something else done. But I think probably, how about this, ladies? If we say, oh, hey, Cousin Bobby. Oh, happy Thanksgiving to you. Thank you so much for coming to see me. We're doing great. We have a private party in here of about 4. And if I had known you were coming, I could have made it a 5. But we've got our just enough food for 4 couples and 4 seats. That's all we got around our dinner table set. So, because you really do set the table, right, for the amount of guests.
And they're going to say, I don't take up much space. I don't eat much.
Okay. And then you say, I know you don't, sweetie. But, I know maybe you should blame the people. These people would not understand. I told them it would only be 4 people. And if you come, then, they're going to be upset with me. So if you don't mind, why don't you come back? Give me your number, because I don't have your number. And let me call you so you can we can go out to eat together. We could go Dutch. Okay.
You want to enjoy your holidays, and sometimes people like that, they just mess up the whole.
You can't allow it. Don't allow it. And even some that come that are invited, if they're drunk or if they are something. I have had a person I know that they literally had to call the police on one of the guests because he was drunk and he was causing a lot of stuff and get into a fight with somebody else. So they had to call the police so that they can resume. But you don't want to let that get out of control. So, wow. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What's another one? We talked about that one, the freeloader. So we said uninvited guests was one. Wanted to bring their specialty when, what are you doing? Somebody says, but I'm really good at macaroni and cheese. That's my specialty. And Mary Joyce makes the best macaroni and cheese, and they're insisting on bringing theirs. What do you do?
Just got to tell them somebody else is bringing it. I'm sorry. I know yours is good, but Mary's bringing hers, and we don't want to have too much.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's good, Flair.
That was really good, Flair. Wow, she must have had some experience with this because that was smooth.
You have to be politically correct.
Okay.
That was polite.
Wow.
So what we do need is.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So you said good. Just thank them first of all. Thank you so much. And Mary's bringing it. She already asked to bring it, so she's already bringing it. Yeah. We don't want to have too much. Right. So thank you so much for bringing it. But
can you bring the pie? Can you bring a cake? Can you bring pop? Yeah. We call them Cokes.
Oh, that's a good thing. And then make them feel good that you want them to bring something else.
Right.
And you can suggest if they're not a good cook. If they do something good, you say, "Can you bring your 7-Up cake? I really love that," to make them feel good.
Yeah.
But if you're not sure they can cook, or if they can't cook, you can say, "I really love Sam's sweet potato pies. Can you go by and pick up 4 of them for me?"
Yeah.
Tell them how many you need. I need 4.
Yeah.
I need to go to Sam's. That's what So be prepared for that. That's good, Flair. You're really good on that one, girl.
Because that's what I always do. I don't have a specialty, so I always say, "What else do you need?"
Yeah.
Let me know, and that's what I'll bring.
Okay, very good. Because you really don't want surprises, and you don't want to have their feelings hurt. Because what's going to happen is, if Mary's been making making it for all these years, and people looking forward to hers, they're not going to eat the other person's.
Right.
And I've even had my grandkids are really bad for this. They'll say, "Well, Nana, which one is yours?"
No.
Yeah, because the kids don't really, they don't really know which one is yours. And they'll say, "Well, I don't eat nobody's dressing, but Nana's dressing." So I don't even, when I do Thanksgiving, I don't allow anybody else to bring dressing. Not because I'm being, rude or mean, but I already know that it may be an issue. Now, if they want to bring a dressing, like said before, the young lady who wanted to bring the oyster dressing because that's what she likes, I don't mind that because I know where she's come from. That was specially there. Okay, so and I would tell her, or bring a small serving because I don't know that anybody else is going to want that. Same thing with pumpkin pie. this particular family, they love pumpkin pie. Before they came from, that was the food, the pie. But Southerners, we all eat what?
Cornbread dressing.
Sweet potato
Sweet
pie.
potato
Sweet
pie.
potato, yeah.
Sweet potato pie. And so, therefore, I would tell people if they want pumpkin pie to bring it, and but don't bring a lot of them because my family won't eat it. They don't like pumpkin pie. You may have one of them, I'm not sure, but I know that that's something. I don't want to set them up for bringing something that, you know, they're real proud of, and then
Right.
nobody eats it. So I think that's
Yeah.
only fair to do that. Okay, so let's see, where are we?
Lady O, Sister Marsha Washington had a question. She said, do we, in the midst of COVID, do we just invite people that are vaccinated to Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yes, that is a good one.
Okay. Now, we have told our family and friends that they have to be vaccinated. So I guess it depends on your particular home. Now, some people said they can't get vaccinations or whatever. And as serious as this is, especially if you're indoors, you're going to have to protect everybody else. You just cannot protect the one who has the problem or the illness. So you would probably say, like, for instance, I've got a sunroom here, and the people who are not vaccinated, they can hang out here, but a safety area or whatever would be in there. Now, one of the things I started doing in all my things is that when people are serving themselves food, they have to wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
You get a scoop. I don't care if you're vaccinated or not. Everybody's got to wear a mask when they're serving themselves. And of course, I have the hand sanitizers that before you start to dip in your plate, you need to go wash your hands in the bathroom and you need to use sanitizer. So we're just trying to protect everybody, okay? So we do that, and people are wearing their masks and they are vaccinated. Now, those that are not vaccinated, then I think it would be good to have a special area for them where they can still see what's going on, but they're not, emitting whatever. I don't know, but I'm hoping all of mine are vaccinated. We're going to double check on that, but that's what we have here is people are vaccinated. Some alternatives to that is to have them eat outside, like get a big tent outside, put your tables and chairs there. And so the food can be fixed inside with the mask, and then take it outside, take your mask off, and then eat.
Yeah.
Now, somebody asked me today when I told them about the other day when they told them about this, well, what if it's raining? I said, be creative. Get an umbrella and put the umbrella up and keep eating. You know, just keep eating. It's be creative. The year that it rained, if you got your tent up, it's going to be okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What do y'all think? Y'all think that's rude to put people in a tent? Tell me the truth.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You think it's rude?
I don't think so.
I'm sorry.
If there's someone that has maybe family members that are not vaccinated and they still want them to come, having it outside is the perfect solution.
Right.
So you have to have the tent just in case, because you don't know if it's going to rain or not. So I think
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just hard to do that for me.
Mm-hmm.
To say, okay, come on over and eat, but you have to go sit outside. We're gonna be inside.
Okay. No.
I would probably struggle with that too. If somebody,
I just have a,
I would have everybody
outside.
Yeah.
That's what I was meaning to say.
Everybody's outside. Yeah, not just them outside.
I'm not gonna put the one person outside of the tent by themselves. Y'all come out. I'm not that mean.
Okay.
But no. I was saying everybody go out there and eat, but just take your umbrella. And so, if you really feel like that's gonna hurt their feelings or whatever, you would give that option. I don't even give an option or either everybody outside, whatever y'all feel like is good. I think my family is good enough to say, okay, I don't have my vaccination. I know the rules. I can eat outside here because it's just the eating part. After they get through and they put the mask back on, they can join the family. Right. But that might be a little harsh, but just one person. But another thing you could do too is clean out your garage and have your dinner in your garage. Put the tables out there because that's an open area.
Yeah, that's true.
And if it rains, that could be an alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have another alternative?
That
Y'all
is
look
a
at
good
me
idea,
strange.
lady, to use the garage.
I
I like
just-
that idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you know what? I always think too, okay, guys, I go into restaurants. I do. I go to restaurants.
Mhm.
And you know, we wear your mask in the restaurant. You take it off.
Yeah, you do.
And we're all in a restaurant together. We're all socializing in the restaurant. So,
Why can't
and
we do
again,
it at
it's just
home?
my feeling on it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. We just gonna
Yeah.
all we just gonna all be at the table and you know, pray and love each other.
Now, this is really serious, guys. I'm laughing about it, but because I know that's not a good answer. You wouldn't want to take your guests and put them in there. But in reality, guys,
Right. Yeah.
COVID kills.
Yes.
Mhm.
People die. So after
Mhm.
your wonderful Thanksgiving time of not wanting to hurt somebody's feelings, then if grandma goes back home and gets sick and dies because that person was not vaccinated, what do you think? I mean, how are you going to feel? I don't know.
Right.
Well, Lady O, I know my father recently had heart surgery.
Uh-huh.
And prior to that, he had kidney cancer. So his immune system is very compromised. And,
Right.
Mhm.
you know, our tradition is to always go to my dad's for Thanksgiving. And we load up the food, the cooler, and everything. We go to him because as he's gotten older, he just don't like to be in other places too long. And we respect that. So we go to him. We set up house there, just tell him to sit back, enjoy football, and we take care of everything. But one of the promises that we make to him because of his immune system is that everybody's going to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody, even the booster. I mean, I'm going to get my booster next week. But
Yeah.
we want to protect him, but we also want him to enjoy the holidays. We want to protect him.
Exactly. You know, I like that, Tracy, because here's the deal. We want to protect the people who cannot protect themselves. And that's going to be babies and children, and it's going to be seniors or people with different particular and compromised immune systems and things like that.
Mhm.
But you said something I wanted to talk about real quickly, and I think probably what we could do, ladies, all jokes aside, is to send out a really nice letter and just saying, you know, this season is one that is not your typical. It won't always be this way, but right now we want to protect Uncle or Grandpa or Nana and Papa by making sure that we're vaccinated. Okay. And if for some reason that you cannot get the vaccination, we understand. We can do a Zoom and Zoom you in. But honestly, I think that we should not allow a person to come into our home to jeopardize the life of our loved one because they are not vaccinated. Either it's their choice or they're not choice. The reality is death does not care whether or not you meant to or whatever. So I think we have to protect them. So maybe a nice letter, something written, thought about and really written up front and just saying, so if you're not vaccinated, this is the Zoom, and we'll have all the people that the Zoom can see, and we can talk back and forth with you. And if they're in the city, you can take them food or whatever. I don't know. It's an idea. So
yeah, I agree with that. If you have someone that's that has a compromised immune system, because that way you're really protecting them.
Yeah, and it won't be
I
like that
agree
every
with
year. Yeah.
Right.
And you can say that at the end, hopefully next year, you know, the CDC will have, you know, said that we're safe enough to do this. But for this year, you know, can you da da da? So a nice note and a Zoom. How about that? Now, Tracy, you said something else that really hit my heart because as I get older and like even remembering my mom, you know, when we would put the 4 kids and all the food and clothing and stuff in a car and drive to Dallas every Thanksgiving to be able to stay for a couple of days. That's a lot of packing. It's a lot of things that you have to do. But I think it's really important that you go to the loved one's house. How, you know what I mean? Some people say,
Yeah.
well, I got a bigger house, and that little shack that my daddy is in, nobody wants to go in that little shack, you know, and they don't have the finest of this, and I've got this big, huge mansion with an island, and I can set the chairs up here and there. How do you think, and or what do you think about that for an older person?
Um,
What do you
you-
think?
well, I look at the house that I'm going to is the house I grew up in. So the memories, the being there with the family, it means so much more to me and to my dad because that's his house. And we look at it like that's the best place for all of us to be. That's where we have our greatest that's what brings us happiness,
Mm-hmm.
even in the storm, in the midst of knowing that my mom is not there, knowing that she was there. It's a calm for us. It's a calm. It brings us joy. So it means more to be there than to be anywhere else. And it doesn't matter. Dad's house is so many thousand square feet smaller or whatever else, or he doesn't have. It's home, and it's the best place for us to be.
I love it.
Yeah.
When you said it's home, I got chills because that's what Thanksgiving is about. It's about family and going home to Thanksgiving. So it's not about the house and how fine yours is. And, there will be days when you will have to not be able to go to that home. But I can I know how it makes me feel when my grandkids start coming in and my kids start coming in and flying in and driving in and they bringing in their dishes to my home. That honors me, and I feel comfortable in my own home, and I feel like they're honoring me as the matriarch or the patriarch by
Exactly.
coming back to where they grew up.
Yes.
And I'm comfortable. I don't have to get out of my house and go up, be uncomfortable in your house. I've got my chair. I know where my restroom is. I know where everything is. If I want to go lay down, I got my bed or whatever. So making it comfortable for the patriarch and the matriarch of the family, as opposed to showing off your big new house or showing off. And when I say show, I don't mean in a bad way. I think sometimes we can be insensitive because of like with my grandfather, his house, like I said, had no running water. We had a well outside. It had no gas or electric stove. They had to get the logs out. And of course, the food was not like what I cook today, but it was home. It was family. So with that said, I want to move on, kind of closing out, because so many people for Thanksgiving, it's going to be difficult for them because of the deaths. They can't go home because the home doesn't exist anymore. It's too far to travel. They may have that particular home may maybe the parents are deceased, or they may be divorced, or whatever happens, it may not be that they can go to that home. So the other thing I want to say before we leave, guys, is home is where you make it after that home that is no longer available. Because let's face it, as my mother's home that we grew up in is no longer our home. But as long as it was her home and she was alive, I went there to honor her. Once it's not there anymore, then I think we need to start looking at a new tradition or something new to honor that. And so what I did was I started having it in my house and doing some of the same things she taught me growing up, using some of those same recipes and different things that you typically do in your home. I would do those. I use her dishes, her glasses. These glasses are not, crystal or whatever, but they're those brown color glasses. I don't know if you got it from S&H Green Stamp, but it was somewhere you would get these glasses. But anyway, I have a set of hers. So I put those out on Thanksgiving to remember her and honor her. So does anybody else have anything you can offer to someone who is going through a difficult time? And this Thanksgiving, the people that came last year, they're not coming they're not coming this year, or it's been some years and they still are not coming and they're grieving during this season. Can anybody give any input about things that you did when you were grieving at this time in Thanksgiving?
I just try to think about trying to make others happy during that time, and that would make me
Okay.
happy if they were happy. And just think of some positive things.
Right.
Some things, and I try to keep the memories, and we talk about them and laugh about what they did, what they didn't do.
Mhm.
And just I'm having my brother's here with me this Thanksgiving. We haven't had him in a long time with us. And my good friend is going to be here from New Orleans, so we're just gonna do whatever. We don't know what we're cooking.
Right.
We don't know what we're eating yet,
Mhm.
but we're going to be together. And I
But
think it's
that's
just
key word.
together and just happy, making each other happy. That I think that would
That's
make
good.
you
So you can
happy.
do that with playing games together. I think that's something we don't do anymore very much.
Mhm,
Let's do something together as a unit, okay?
mhm,
And invite others. That's one thing we do several. We've done several times. We've invited people. I remember there was a young couple that came here from I think it was Maryland, and their family was there. They couldn't go back. So it was she, her husband. They had one little boy at that time, and then it was her cousin. We invited them all over here, and we did
mhm.
family stuff here. And so invite somebody who doesn't have a family to go to, because you got to be safe with that and use your common sense. But if somebody on the job is saying, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to go home this year, don't have money, COVID, whatever," invite them over so that would make them happy. That's a good one. Anybody have another one?
I think the cooking traditions of my family, doing those and bringing those memories back, is comforting for the family. Just because sometimes you say, I love mom's pound cake or her um, pecan pie, and then when you
Mm,
are able to recreate it, maybe not as good as her, but close to it,
Close
yeah,
to it.
Mhm.
it just makes people feel warm inside, I think.
right. And the other thing that you just said too, that I know an African proverb says, um, every time you say my name, I live.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
say that name, say your loved one's name, talk about them so that the kids will remember Granny Leela. I mean,
That's
that
good.
name is very important to
Yeah.
us and my kids, but the grandkids really didn't get a chance to know Granny Leela and her pound cake and what all we did.
Mhm.
So say their name.
Yes.
um, Cooking, pass down some recipes to the children. I did that last year. I started having a couple of my grandkids have come over and I said, we're going to make this, or I tell them how to make the mac and cheese. Because guess what? I'm not trying to be cooking the rest of my life.
Right.
Right.
So this would be a good time to pass on
Yep.
traditions, to
Mhm.
get in the kitchen, say we're going to cook together. No, it's not going to be, I'm cooking all night long. Y'all sleep. And in the morning, everything, voila, is ready. We're
Mhm.
all gonna cook. We're gonna play games. We're gonna put the music on. My mom was real famous for this. We had a hi-fi. Anybody know what a hi-fi is?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's that long stereo hi-fi. We had one of
Yep.
those in the projects. And
Mm.
my mom would put on her favorite music and we would dance. And it was just a festive time. So if you don't have that person, you can still put on that person's, honor that person, not by being sad,
Right.
honor that person by celebrating the life that they lived, of why they were so important to you. Because remember, it's not about how much food you have, it's not about how big the house you live in or how fancy your dishes are.
Right.
You can use paper plates, but if you are passing on love, you're passing on memories, you're passing on the whoever is around the table with you, then that's what it's all about, is making a Thanksgiving by being thankful. So
Yeah.
whoever comes to your Thanksgiving dinner, whether it's a co-worker or whatever, be thankful for that and talk about the things. That's another thing that we do at our house. We always talk about why we're thankful for
Yes.
this, or if it's
Yes.
somebody's birthday, we want to talk about that before we dive into the food.
Yes.
And then we have that special prayer at our house is always by the matriarch. So pastor always gives the Thanksgiving prayer, and that's a tradition. When he
Mhm.
passes on, whoever the oldest male is, they will give the Thanksgiving thing. Now, if he wants somebody else to pray, he'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna want Jaden to pray the prayer tonight." Well, that's his privilege, but don't walk over him. Don't
Mhm.
ignore him or dishonor him by giving that duty to somebody else. They have not paid the price.
Right.
Okay. And so we need to honor that. And then they can say, oh, I like for so-and-so to do it or whatever. Okay. I think we're good, guys. So, one other thing you can do, we still got a few minutes, that I know a couple of people have done. Now, we haven't done this before, but I know a couple of, even some of my family members have done it, is the, I don't know if it's the Star of Hope, but I know down at the George R. Brown Center, they have Thanksgiving meals for the homeless. And so you could go down there and you can volunteer to serve the homeless meals. And so all you do is put on your little apron or whatever. They've already got the food cooked and you serve all these homeless people. It takes a lot of time, I think about a whole half a day they're serving and cleaning up. And for somebody who doesn't even have a home, doesn't even have a family, and many times they're not even in their right mind. So that would give you joy to bring joy or smile to someone and say, Happy Thanksgiving. Oh, you want more potatoes? Something to serve somebody else.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else? We're about out of time. I think we got 1 minute. We good? Well, listen, our time is up and we want to get off and get over here and do some things, but we're just hoping that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And guess how you have a wonderful Thanksgiving? By making sure that you share your love, share yourself, share what you have. Don't compare it to others. And most of all, it's Thanksgiving because we are to be thankful. So listen, this is Lady O and my team signing off, wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. And we're looking forward to seeing you next week. Now, next week, we're going to talk about the cooking, okay? Because we got a chef coming on here. We're going to talk about cooking some special meals. So you don't want to miss the cooking show, okay, next week. And then the next week, you're going to be doing your own cooking and send us some clips or something. Send us some pictures. But happy Thanksgiving. Love you guys and see you next week for Tea Talk at 3 with Lady O. Bye-bye.